This was something where I struggled. I used to have people slip through the cracks all the time because I couldn't keep track of all the humans that I was talking to. I want to go over some stats real quick. Have you heard that the fortune is in the follow-up? Well, let me tell you, this cliche is 100% true. 48% of marketers never follow up with a prospect. 25% of marketers follow up twice. 12% only follow up 3 times. Only 10% of marketers follow up more than 3 times. Think about that for a second. How many of us are in the 90% that don't follow up more than 3 times? See, 2% of sales are made on the first contact. So think about that. 98% of the people you talk to are not going to buy after one conversation. They're not going to join after one conversation. In fact, if you see here, 3% on the second contact, 5% on the third contact. That means 95% of the people that are buying your products in your company, 95% of the people joining your team are not joining and they are not buying after 3 conversations. So the fortune truly is in the follow-up. 10% of the sales are made on the 4th contact, and then 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Now, here's the deal. These 5 contacts, these 5 conversations are probably not going to happen in 5 days. They might not even happen in 5 months, believe it or not. And there's different ways to define a contact, and I'll talk about this, but I'm gonna dive deep on how to keep track of all your follow-ups, how to increase your close ratio. How many of us want to enroll more of the humans that we talk to? Anybody? When you are brand new, or when you're enrolling brand new people, you have to teach them to get themselves out of the way. When you're brand new, you want to demonstrate the simplicity of the ad tag message system. So you get someone in a group, you add them to the group, you tag them in a video, you tag them in a testimonial so they can see other people's stories. They can see the results. You can use a video, use a tool, don't be a fool, use a tool, and get other people to see the information without you having to explain it. Have other people do the talking. Other people are doing the selling and telling. You're just getting them in the group. And then you follow up with them to let them know you're going to set up a group chat. Why do you do group chats? Well, multiple reasons why. Number one, you will have a higher close ratio when you introduce your contact to someone else. Like when you're brand new, I tell all my new people, I'm like, get really good at edifying the groups, building up the groups. Get really good at edifying your upline. Introduce me to humans. The more people you introduce me to, the more money you make. Capiche? So for those of you that have individuals on your team that are struggling, tell them or ask them actually, how many people did you introduce to the opportunity this week? How many people did you ATM? How many people did you share the products with this week? How many people did you talk to about the business or products this week? And then whatever their answer is, great. When are you going to introduce me to these individuals so I can help you enroll some customers, so I can help you enroll some business partners, so you can earn while you learn? Now, here's what to say if you want to take a screenshot of this. Hey, Sam, great news. I added you to our ABC private community, right? Whatever the name of your group is. In order for you to see the content, you have to accept the invite. Let me know once you're in so I can tag you in a couple of videos that explain more about the products, the company, and the compensation plan. The beauty is, now this is the key. You're showing them the simplicity of the system. The beauty is all you have to do is add people to the exact same group I'm adding you to. I know you said you were gonna look at the videos tonight, so I'm gonna follow up with you tomorrow and watch this. Some people say, well, do I ask for permission? When do I set up the group chat? Listen, I don't ask for permission, but I also don't set up the group chat without telling them. You can literally say, I'm also going to introduce you to some of the leaders that we work with, some of the other individuals we work with. And again, you edify the leadership. So you're letting them know you're going to set up a group chat. You're just not necessarily saying, is it okay for me to introduce you to other people? Please, sir, can I introduce you to other humans that are doing this business? No, right? You're letting them know when you say, hey, I added you to the group. Let me know when you accepted the invite. The beauty is all you have to do is introduce people to the same exact group. And then tomorrow, I'm going to introduce you to some other individuals I'm working with, some of the people I'm partnered with. They're mentoring me. They're working with me. I'm brand new. Yes. It is beautiful to be new. There's nothing better than being new because you're not expected to have all the information, all the answers. You're not expected to be making a bunch of money. Your job is not to sell and recruit every person you come across. In fact, the reason most people suck at selling and recruiting because they're always selling and recruiting. They've got commission breath and it stinks. You got to take a value mint. Your goal is to interview people, to identify individuals who would be a good fit for your team. Remember, you have to work with these people. People get so excited to enroll a customer, enroll a new teammate, and then that's it. They're like, on to the next one. It's a horrible mentality to have. Most people, they need to trust you. They need to believe that you care about them. And if they buy your product and never hear from you again, they join your team and all of a sudden, like you got your fast start bonus and they rarely hear from you, that's a freaking problem. It really is. So I ask people, what do you like? What did you like best about what you saw? What did you like most? What would your goal be getting started? I think this is a great question because then I get to find out their goals and where their head's at with everything. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being you're ready to get started right now. With one of our XM kits, 1, you just want to be a customer. All right. Now we have XM kits, something in our business, whatever your kits are, whatever your top packs are for your company, for your business, you want to just find out where their head's at. You want to find out what their goals would be in getting started. Are they looking to make a little or a lot? Why do they want to make money? What would be the purpose of making $4,000 a month? Why do they want to make $400 a month? Why do they want to lose 30 pounds? Like, what are their goals? Get them talking. Get them to sell you on why they want to start a business. Get them to sell you on why they need that product. Okay, let's get into how to handle objections like a pro. First things first, don't get defensive when people ask questions. A lot of times we get nervous or we feel pressured maybe by people that ask questions that are inquisitive. And look, there's a difference in someone being skeptical and pessimistic. I actually have no problem with someone being skeptical. They just have questions. That's normal, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, they're like a 4, maybe a 6. They got some questions. It's all good. But then there's those individuals that are straight up negative, right? They're the rotten apple. If you're talking red, green, and rotten apples, we're looking for green apples and red apples. I'm not here to convince a rotten apple, right? They're rotten. They're not a rotten person, but they're just not open. They're not interested. They're not the one that I need to spend my time and energy on. Who cares if someone says they're not interested? Who cares if they say no? Next. Some will, some won't, some wait. So what? Next. So we're not here to convince people. We're not here to beg people to join us. How many of us remember dating? All right. Some of you are still dating. It's been a while for me, but I remember, man, you got to play the game. You can't be too eager, too desperate. You would have no dates if you were eager and desperate. Doesn't matter how good looking you are. If you're eager and desperate, people are going to raise their eyebrow. They're going to be suspicious of you. Why are they so eager? If they're doing so well and the products are so awesome, the business is so fantastic, why are they stalking me? Why do I feel like they need me? Need is not attractive, and the market does not reward need and desperation. But just understand that when people ask questions, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes, though, you need to clarify what they mean by their question or their objection. What do you mean by that? What do you mean you don't have money? What do you mean by, I only have a few $100s? Perfect, right? I don't have a lot of time. What do you mean by that? Well, I wouldn't have much time to put into this. Well, how much time do you have? Maybe, I don't know, 10 hours a week. Perfect. Do you got an hour a day? Could you find an hour a day to work your business? Because if you got an hour a day, we can make some money together. It's true what they say. The fortune is in the follow-up. Most people don't join after the first exposure. They have questions, doubts, or concerns. Maybe it's not great timing, or they subconsciously want to see how you do first. See, when you go out and show people that you're going to the top of the mountain with or without them, that you're going to get in shape with or without them. See, the majority of the people we've enrolled, we had an established relationship with. Or they followed us for months or even years. Stay the course. The key is to stay in the game long enough so that eventually the no's become yeses. Like I literally look at all my friends on Facebook that I have an ATM. Because you know when you go to invite someone to your ATM groups, if you use the ATM system, my mindset is I want to get every friend eventually in my ATM groups, right? At some point, I want them to buy my products, join my team. And you know what? If they never do, that's fine too. You can't be addicted to the outcome. So here's 3 key principles to effective follow-up. Number 1, Keep your promises. If you say, hey, I'll follow up with you tomorrow, you got to follow up with them that next day. If you say, hey, I'll touch base with you on Monday or next week, or I'll follow up with you on follow up Friday, or hey, we've got a Saturday team call on Saturday afternoon. You should hop on. You should listen, because if you get started, now you're trained, baby. So they decide to get started. They're now trained up. So you're following up with them and making sure they have the phone number. You're confirming that they're all set to get on the call. Get organized. Use a planner or a daily or a digital calendar, right? You want to keep track of your contacts, whatever works for you. For me, I put a reminder in my phone that pops up every day. So every day I'm following up with people. Every day I'm reaching out and touching base with people. You can't run your business like a hobby and expect to get big results. This is why most people struggle in network marketing. They don't treat it like a business. They don't keep track of their humans. Keep them in the loop also. Keep them in the loop. Create relationships with your best prospects. Connect with them on social media. Give them a call or even meet with them in person if they live close by. I don't do this, but I know some people do a lot of this. Make sure that you keep track of all of these humans. This is a big deal. You give them updates when there's big events. You give them updates when there's special offers. All right. So like, look at it this way. Let's say you expose a whole bunch of people, you get a whole bunch of people in the ATM groups. Well, now they're in the ATM groups. So now when there's a promotion, a special offer, maybe you're doing a live video and you're interviewing some people, you can tag people that are in the group in those videos, in those announcements, in those offers, those special promotions, right? So there's so much genius in having people in this secret community so they can kind of marinate in there. Right? Once they're in those groups, man, anything can happen. And in the groups, you can be a lot more vocal about your products, a lot more vocal about your opportunity, because now you've already talked to them about it. You just don't want to post all that crap on your social media wall. Now, where is like the in-between between your Facebook wall? Because you don't want it to look like an infomercial. You don't want to look like a spammer. That's a turnoff to people, right? But you also know that when there's special offers or you've got like an awesome before and after picture you want to share, you might share some of that publicly on your wall, but where else could you share that stuff? In your stories. And you know what? Here's what's beautiful about a story is you can swipe up and you can see who's watching, right? You can see who's watching your stories, especially when you see people that watch all your stories. Swipe up, send them a message. I don't typically say, hey, I see you watching my stories. I don't typically say that, but you could say that if they're like, you know how they can respond with like the hearts, or, you know, they can respond with like a like to your story. So maybe those people, because you know they're purposely responding with like an emoji response, those people you could say, hey, thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. How are you? But the point is, it's so beautiful that you can just swipe up and see who's watching your stories. Those are some of your best leads. So how to follow up effectively. Add every interested prospect to your follow-up book, because some of your best leaders might start off as satisfied customers. Some of the best people you ever enroll in your business as a distributor, they might start off as a customer, but not if you never talk to them, not if they never hear from you. Like, oh, you got my money and that's it, right? I bought your product and I never hear from you again, not a peep. So fill up your follow-up book as quickly as possible. The mindset should be to pack out your follow-up book with as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. And remember, a no is not a no forever. It's just no, not now. Now, there's also the periodic update. So what are you doing? You're periodically following up with them. You're giving them updates. You're keeping them in the loop. This is powerful. A lot of people join my team because I stayed in touch. Whether they saw my story and then they responded and I said, hey, how are you? How's the family? What are you up to these days? Happy birthday, Sarah. How have you been? How are you celebrating your big celebration, your big day? Like, I'm always staying in touch. I'm always staying connected. I'm sharing big announcements. I'm letting them know how the team is doing. I'm letting them know, the kind of momentum we're experiencing. I let them know we have new products, or maybe we were doing a huge Saturday call, or we got a big webinar coming up. And sometimes, honestly, when I touch base with people, I don't say anything about the business or products. I'm just curious to see how they're doing. What have they been up to? Maybe I saw their post. Maybe I saw their Insta story. I want to transition into talking about people that ghost us. Anybody have non-responsive prospects where they're all like interested in the beginning, and then you ATM them and they don't watch the video. They're not responding to you, right? They're ghosting you. So here's some responses. I'm going to give you some responses is what you can do to get them to respond. All right. My most popular one, I used to do this in the mortgage industry. I'll send them a message. Hey, Megan, are you okay? Megan, I haven't heard back from you. I'm not worried about the business. I was just concerned because we had a great conversation the other day. I've reached out to you a couple times. Are you all right? I just want to make sure you're okay. All right. So it's a really great question. I also like saying, hey, I tell you what, would you like me just to cross you off my list for right now? You seem like you have a lot going on. No big deal. The timing isn't right. I understand. I get busy. I got a lot going on myself. So if you want for right now, Raymond, I can just cross you off my follow-up list and maybe I could follow up with you in a month or next year. You let me know. And literally when I was in the mortgage industry, I was so good at this because I had a CRM, right? I had a CRM to keep track of all my leads. And I would literally, if someone say, hey, can you call me back next year? I would literally call them back 365 days later on the day that I talked to them 1 year ago. So never assume that someone is avoiding you. Look, I assume everybody wants to hear from me. I assume everybody wants to partner with me, but I'm also not going to chase people. I'm also not going to beg people. I'll go love on their posts. I'll send them a funny GIF. Do you know how often I've changed the subject? Hey, how are you? How's your weekend? You know, I respond, maybe they do an Insta story or a Facebook story, and I literally respond to their story, and then they bring up the business. They bring up the product. They ask me a question. Hey, so what were those packages to get started? Hey, John, how long do you think it would take me to get to 1,000 a month, right? Like they start asking me, they bring up the business. And you just got to test them out. One thing might work for one person while something else works for another, and never be afraid to take it away from them. Hey, I'm just going to go ahead and cross you off my list for now, Brittany. Seems like you got a lot going on. It's all good. No big deal. I can totally relate. And you'd be surprised by how many people respond to that. If someone says no to what we're doing, I just assume they don't have the correct information. They don't know enough, because I haven't met anybody that doesn't want residual income. I haven't met anybody that's like, oh no, I would hate to get checks for something I did weeks, months, and years ago. Like that would suck. I only want to exchange time for dollars. I've never met anybody that said they would hate to make money from their phone. I've never met anybody like that. It's a belief issue. It's a belief thing. They just don't believe that the products work yet. They don't believe in the business yet. But if they see you keep showing up with positivity, they keep seeing your Insta stories, your Facebook stories, they see your videos, they see your content, they see that you're a positive human. And maybe you get them on the products eventually. Maybe eventually they ask a couple questions about the business. Even though you brought up the business and they said no, a no is not a no forever. It's just no, not now. My favorite day to follow up with people, hands down, is Follow Up Friday. Why? People are in a good mood on Fridays. People get paid on Fridays. Plus, we always have our Saturday call. Now, I don't know when you do your weekly trainings in your company, but within our organization, we do a Saturday call every single Saturday at noon Eastern, and it's always amazing. So it's like, let's say I'm reaching out to Delroy here, right? Hey, Delroy, good morning. What's going on? Happy Friday. Hey, listen, man, I wanted to give you a heads up. We have a really great team training call tomorrow at noon Eastern. If you're available, you should totally hop on. We're going to have 4 incredible leaders sharing their stories and some of their best tips to create success. I think you'll love it, especially if you're serious about getting started soon. This will give you a glimpse of what we do and how we do it. If you do this every Friday with every person you ATM, even if you're struggling with closing people, you're struggling with people joining, if you do a good job of edifying that Saturday call and you get people on your Saturday call or whatever your weekly thing is, I'm sure a lot of you have a weekly, training event, something. It's such a great sorting tool, because if someone gets on the Saturday call and they join, boom, now they're trained up. And if they don't join, next. It's a great way to sort people, because I'm here to sort, not sell. I'm not here to convince people. I'm going to expose, involve, upgrade. Write that down. Expose, involve, upgrade. I expose them to the ATM groups, to the products, the videos, whatever. I get them involved in the group. I get them involved in a group chat with other leaders. And then I upgrade. I ask them, you ready to get started? When did you want to get started? Now, if they're beating around the bush and they're kind of putting me off or whatever, I ask them, what would you like the next step to be? What would you like the next step to be? Let them tell me what they want me to do next.